Well, howdy, howdy, howdy. Nearly Senior Citizen here. Greetings, boys and girls, and welcome to this another brand new day. Yes, indeed, it is another brand new day. First thing I want to talk about, it just popped right into my head. Excuse me. I had been germinating some seeds back in my closet, and one of them hadn't really done anything. Two of them were kind of getting darker and bulging because something was like living inside of them. One of them, excuse me, drank carbonated beverages just before turning on the webcam. One of them actually started to have just a little tiny spike of something growing out of it. And then that's as far as anything went on all of the seeds. So I'm trying to germinate so I can plant some cannabis plants because I've gotten a light setup, a heating setup, timers, and all that so I can grow. It's just you have to germinate the seeds. And apparently it takes it's only like 1 in 3 or 1 in 5 will actually become viable. So I was sent some seeds and that was very, very nice. I hope they don't all get wasted. But on a minor aside, I had bought like an ounce of this one weed that everybody's been complaining about. So I don't know. This is a 1 gram container. Look at this. This is how empty they are. This is how full of how many seeds this thing has had in it. How many of these are viable seeds? Probably not many, because the darker they are, the more viable. So, but that's a lot of seeds. I have to tear apart each of the buds and get all the seeds out, and even at that, whenever I'm smoking out of my pipe, there's the occasional boom as the seed warms up and explodes like a bit of popcorn inside the bowl. Thumbs up. And then really, really quick, yesterday I had mentioned how I feel like I got born into the wrong universe. Now I was supposed to be born in the utopian universe. Instead, I ended up somehow in the dumpster fire universe. But with the many worlds hypothesis and all that, it's like somewhere there's a good universe. But in comments, and I don't want to say names just because sometimes it's it might be a comment that might not really want to have a lot of attention brought to it, but still, somebody was talking about how it was my generation, because I was born just after the boomers and just before the next generation. So I am just about of boomer age, right at the very edge. You're supposed to be a boomer if you were born in 1964. I was born in 62. It's like when I was born, boomers were already almost 30. So I may have been in boomer age, but there's a lot of difference. My parents were boomers. So I'm stuck in that I'm too old to not be, but not old enough to be. So joy on that. But the thing is, the USA has never really been good that way. I mean, I was born in the 60s, and there was all those riots and such going on in the 60s, and black people having to deal with being lynched in the streets, which was more the 50s when that was happening, but it was still happening. And then you got the 70s with Watergate and the Vietnam War and all the stuff going on with that. And then you just keep pushing on the 80s with all of those Ronald Reagan attacks on the small little countries where we race in, like Manuel Noriega, where we attack. And it's just... And then, of course, the riots in 92, the well-deserved riots in 92, and it's never really been good. It's just that the country has been very, very good at keeping its mask in place, that happy, friendly mask, only really pulling it aside so that minorities can see it because that mask glares down at them. Pull it aside so they can see the real horror and anger underneath staring at them. But for the rest of the country, the white part of the country, it was that happy, friendly mask. And then every once in a while, like the Kent State shootings, the mask slips, and then the white people get to see just what the country is really like. But then it always goes back on. I don't know that that mask is going to be able to go back on now. So it's what's happening now is what's always been there. It's just what's happening now is no longer under the surface behind the mask. Now the mask has just been ripped off. And we see the rotting flesh and the exposed bone underneath. It's exposed now. It's always been there. It's just now everybody gets to see the mask being taken off and the real face underneath. I am sorry that I keep misspeaking that way. And when our president, who has turned finishing the process of the United States becoming a third world country, firing rubber bullets and tear gas at protesters in a church that was already shut down, where the bishop of the church that was affected is furious that the president would do something like this, where they were firing at peaceful protesters who were just sitting there so that he could have an awkward photo op of holding a Bible and just stand there looking like he's not even quite sure why he's there. The mask is off. This is the way the country has always been. It's just the mask has been there to make it seem happier and friendlier. But the mask is gone now. This is the way the country has always been. It's not pretending anymore. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the Serious Sam franchise from the, oddly enough, it looks like there's a Polish software development team called what looks like Crow Team. It's spelled C-R-O and then the word team. But when you hear the developers of this Polish company actually say the name, they pronounce it more Koro Team. So it's like Koro Team, but they first came out with the first Serious Sam sort of as a pushback against what had been happening, because in the original Doom games with sprites and stuff, you could have games with literally hundreds of AI characters on the screen and it wouldn't even chug an old-time machine. But then we moved to polygons and actual 3D stuff, and when there's a difference between one sprite with 64 colors on it and having polygons with actual 3D geometry. So instead of having hundreds of characters on screen, you started having the 3D games just one or two characters to fight. And the people at Koro Team said, you know what, I bet we can do better than that. And they developed a polygon-based, 3D architecture game with huge, massive levels. I mean, you can fit, even today, a lot of levels inside that, and they would have to stop and load things, whereas it's all just seamless on the Serious Sam stuff. And they would throw 10s and 20s, 30s of characters at you running polygonal. It was amazing. And so they came out with Serious Sam 1 and Serious Sam 2, and then they had remastered editions of Serious Sam 1 and Serious Sam 2, and then there's another engine that runs all the Serious Sam games on. But then there's also another engine, and these are both official engines that will run all the Serious Sam games on. So why are there two official engines that will run all the Serious Sam games on? And then they've got Serious Sam 3, which came out years and years and years ago. I bought that ages ago, and I've tried playing it before, and I wasn't doing all that well. And last night I said, you know what? I've got ADHD, and I can't focus on anything longer than 2 minutes at a time. So I booted up Serious Sam 3 last night, which is true. I mean, I'll play something intensely for a few days, and then I just get I'm on to the next thing. But, so I finally got through it and was doing well. The change in tone is incredible. Excuse me. You still have areas where they will throw like 30 characters, 30, 40 bad guys at you. But they're not huge, sprawling arenas anymore. They're tighter, smaller, really more claustrophobic arenas. And you're running around inside the arenas looking for health to make sure you're okay, because a lot of the bad guys, while they're really just low-level things from the games, there's also the things they've really bumped up in power. So you have to cower and hide and really make use of cover effectively. So it's a big tonal change. It's still fun, but it's a big tonal change. And of course, big difference in the graphical presentations, because all of the original ones, while looking nice, had a very cartoony look. Even on I thought something had fallen. I guess it was just a beam of light or a bug or something, but they looked cartoony but real. Whereas this one looks very photorealistic. But it was still done at a time when, photorealistic as it is, when the characters are moving, cloth doesn't look quite right, faces don't look quite right. Life is life. Still, it's fun, and that's a good thing. It's something to distract yourself with. And yes, I have been doing some thinking on my bone-hurting juice world. Now, I'm still kind of stuck. The story beginning I'm working on right now, it's dealing with kind of addiction issues, and so it's not really an action-based thing. And so I'm not quite sure if this is really a good idea, and maybe make it more of a background thing, or just to show them as what they're dealing with in this world. Because I wrote a short thing where there's 3 characters, and I want to add a 4th, where there's a dwarf-like character. What we see is dwarves in our world, but in this world they're Elvandri. There are elven types, but they're more fungus-based and lived underground. Those are the Dwarlens. And then there are the people from the Calendris who are just bone because of a magical plague that killed everyone there. And they're in a town where they find an alchemical shop, and they sell bone-hurting juice, which is just a potion. You drink it, and for the next 8 to 12 hours, your bones hurt. The worst pain you've ever felt in your life. There is no cure. There is no antidote. You drink it, and for the next 8 to 12 hours, you are in agony. And it is the shop's best-selling potion. And everybody in the party, those 3 types I just told you about, the first one, the Elvandri, he drinks it first and is on the floor just going, my bones! And then the Dwarlen, he takes it next, and he's like, I can't believe me bones are hurting so much, it's awful. And then, of course, the zombie type one, who's just bones from the Calendris Mountain, she ends up drinking, and she goes, I cannot believe I am just bones, and all of my bones are hurting. So it's just too much Scottish in there. And so it's insane that way. But the beginning I'm working on is where they find themselves after a week. They're between jobs, they're moving around because they do jobs, whether that's just something that happens in town or they go adventuring in ruins or whatever. Through the years they found they work well together, and when you work well together, largely you become friends with your co-workers. And so they are. And so they're traveling around, but they find themselves not going far from this town, and Scarbat, the Elvandri, is like, well, I'm going to head back into... Now I'm making him sound like the Calendris type. I'm going to be heading back into town. I'm going to be grabbing some because I know we're all out of bone-hurting juice, and we've been staying here just in case we ran out. We can't spend the rest of our time just staying around this town. We all have a problem. We need to talk about this. I've lost family members to alcohol, and while this is not the same, I can't see us just spending the rest of our lives here drinking this stuff. So they're having to deal with psychological addiction to drinking bone-hurting juice. Thumbs up. And I don't know whether to make that just a background thing, is, they're dealing with their bone-hurting juice addictions, or make it a more forefront thing where they're actually fighting about that, and that's part of the story instead of just background dressing. And I've opened up 24 hours worth of comments. I got a tight muscle back here. It's giving me a tension headache, and I hate that. It's killing me. It's murder. I'm being murdered by my own muscles. I just now noticed which muscle it was. So yeah, this is a straight tension headache. Joy. I've opened up 24 hours worth of comments in my community tab. I'm going to go through and thank 20 to 25 people for having left me a comment. I'm not reading the comments right now. I'm just thanking you for having left a comment. I'm going to go through and read, thumbs up, and answer as many as I can later on. Right now, just thanking you. If I mispronounce the username, no disrespect is intended. I'm an American English speaker, and even though I can't American Sign Language, I still get lost. I mean, you've probably seen the way my brain works. I forget stuff with my brain damage from my alcoholism, untreated ADHD, depression, grief. Oh, thumbs up. I'm getting better all the time. Still, I'm going to approach and hit that functional limit one day. So we have Mar, thank you very, very much. And Rebecca R.E., thank you very much. We have Clout Uni, thank you. Hope99, thank you very much. Brandon Mojica, greatly appreciated. David, sorry about that. David DeMar, thank you very, very much. Jordan Helfrich, thank you very, very much. And Russian Timing, thank you so very, very much. Confused Owl, 29. Oh boy. Isela Contreras, thank you very, very much. And we have Saul Bentley, thank you. Kevin Thomas, greatly appreciated. Lionel Guerrero, I think that's pronounced that way. Thank you very much. Aaron S., greatly appreciated. Martin Watkins, thumbs up. We have Elderwolf 569, and yes, we have got to get together. I want to do that online, definitely. We have Kiwi Crossing, definitely a thumbs up. Liking the covers, 4963, greatly appreciate. Christopher Thomas, thumbs up and thank you. Blade Free, thumbs up. We have Nixon IWNI, not sure if that's a name or what, but thank you very, very much. Pragmatic Descent, I like the name. Thumbs up and thank you. We have Heidi Cruz, greatly appreciate. We have Kaylee W, thumbs up and thank you. And last but not least, Colin Reisenauer, thumbs up and thank you. Each and every one of you. You get me out of my head, into the world, dealing with real people, and that is appreciated, especially in these social distancing times. Greatly, greatly appreciated, each and every one of you. If you could check out my various links, I have Twitter, Facebook, GoFundMe, Patreon.com. If you could donate to my GoFundMe campaign or become a Patreon.com patron like one of these beautiful and awesome people, that would be beautiful and awesome. If you wanted to help me out, but you didn't want to send money to one of those two places, I have a PayPal link down below if you can check that out. And if you wanted to help me out without sending money, I have an Amazon wishlist link as well with things like cat food, hamster bedding, silly things, not silly things. If you could check it out, that would be very, very cool. Greatly appreciated. Now, do not feel obligated. I do not feel entitled. And if you cannot donate or you simply do not donate, I take all good wishes and I deposit them in the bank of my heart where I draw interest. So thank you very much. If you could toss me a like, I do appreciate all the positive validation for my existence, definite thumbs up. And of course, if you could subscribe to the channel and hit that bell, that would be very cool, greatly appreciated. I would understand if you did not wish to, but if you are down with it, I will do my best to keep you entertained from now until the literal end of time. Definitely a thumbs up. Arcane hand movements for the win. Well, it's a shocker. I don't know what's going to happen. The United States is currently tearing itself apart at the moment. So, thumbs up. And I've got this video. I've got to record and edit another video. I've got to still make some phone calls. Hopefully I can get that done today. Executive dysfunction blows. And I've got to find a better SIM card online so that we can get that done. Definitely a thumbs up. So, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, my friend, and that is a very good thing. Excuse me. No matter what, no matter where, no matter who, be as safe as possible, It is dangerous out there, no matter where you live in the world. Just be safe, stay living, stay metabolizing, and take care.